Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the sound of sliding rubber on sun-warmed wooden stairs, a flip of a sandal, the soft thud of a bare foot on packed earth. You can almost guess the day of the week, the weather, maybe even the owner's story from that single step. What does the way we step tell a neighborhood about itself?
Welcome to Ancient Echoes, where we listen to the small things that carry big histories. I'm Samnong Bradley, and today we'll trace lives through souls of story, shoes, bare feet, and the social language of walking in Cambodia. This episode is a close listening monologue with a few reflections from my co-host Rachana. Together, we'll walk temples, markets, repair stalls, and family courtyards to hear what feet and footwear quietly tell us.
Listening closely already, the image of that wooden stair, I can see an elder pausing, fingers loosening a strap, a practiced reverence in the movement. As we move through these scenes, let's remember, practices vary across villages, households, and generations. What this reveals is not a single rule, but a pattern of meanings layered over time.
Exactly. Think of walking as a language you learn from childhood. Where to remove shoes, which paths are polite to take, when to lift your feet just so. We'll start with a short cultural history, how materials and trade shaped footwear choices, and in turn, social patterns.
Segment 1. Supply and Materials. For centuries, Cambodian footwear has shifted with material availability, rattan and woven mats for indoor soles, leather when trade allowed it, and then rubber, reclaimed from tires and modern industry, becoming ubiquitous. Rubber sandals, those simple flip-flops, tell a story of adaptation. They're affordable, repairable, and carry the marks of daily life, scuffs from riverbanks, a sole worn thin from the exact route to a market stall.
The layers matter. A pair of sandals may show not just miles traveled, but trade connections, where leather came from, how rubber found its way into local craft. From a cultural standpoint, materials connect households to regional economies and even to global trade patterns. The research tells us that footwear is as much a historical object as a tool.
And materials shape work patterns. In rural rice fields, people more often go barefoot for grip and for the feel of the earth. In urban markets, patched sandals are the norm for vendors on their feet from dawn until dusk. Those worn edges are readable. Occupation, daily routine, practical choices, all written on the sole.
I remember a vendor in Battambang who pointed to the sole of his sandal and said, smiling, that each line was a map of his stalls. He laughed, almost proud, and then fixed his strap as if repairing a line of memory. That's part of what we mean when we say the deeper story is in the objects people keep close.
Segment 2. Bare feet and sacred ground. If you visited a pagoda, you know there's a choreography. Shoes left politely at the threshold, feet treading carefully over temple stones, children sometimes darting in bare because it's what their grandparents taught. The act of removing shoes is often about respect, humility, and boundary marking, sacred versus ordinary space.
This is significant because age and gender shape how these boundaries are learned. Elders might insist on barefoot reverence at an altar. Younger urban visitors may interpret the etiquette differently. Let's unpack that. Removal of shoes signals an ethic of care and a bodily practice that says, I enter with humility. But it's not uniform, and that complexity here matters.
I've sat with monks who explain that bare feet also connect the body to the ground, to awareness. In the scholarly sense, the bare foot can be a pedagogy of attention, walking slowly, noticing each step. But again, practice varies across families and places. In some households, shoes come off at the door, in others only at the altar, and in a few, People prefer indoor slippers. Context is everything. Segment 3. Shoes that speak. Walk with me down a market lane. A boatman's shoes will be salt-streaked, rounded where toes press against oars. A school teacher's pair might be patched in the same neat stitch for years. Repair marks become signatures, hidden narratives about migration, occupation, and priorities.
And the choices people make, what to repair, what to buy new, reveal values. Repair culture is about economy, yes, but also about continuity. The pattern shows us that mending is not just saving money, it's preserving a life in motion. That's foundational to understanding how communities maintain memory through objects.
Segment 4. Repair culture and small makers. Picture a dawn market. A cobbler's bench, the smell of glue and oil, the tap-tap of a cobbler's hammer. I spent a morning with a repairman who had an economy of gestures, an eye for which soul could be saved, which strap could be braided anew. He traded repair for rice, mending shoes as he listened to stories folded into customers' footsteps.
That relentless creativity, using reclaimed rubber, stitching by hand, improv workarounds. We must be careful, though, not to romanticize. Repair keeps value in circulation, but it also responds to economic precarity. When we speak of cobblers, let's center their voices about livelihoods and how fair payment and recognition matter.
Agreed. When you support a maker, it's more than a transaction. It's a way to sustain a craft and a livelihood. In our show notes, we'll link to vetted artisan partners and cooperatives, ways to give meaningful support rather than treating repair as quaint. Segment 5. Rituals, Gifts, and Life Cycle Moments. Footwear appears in life cycle ceremonies in intimate ways. A child's first pair of shoes can become a family story. A bride might walk barefoot in a courtyard blessing, and donated shoes can carry social intent, respect, care, or obligation. These are moments when souls become carriers of memory.
I once heard an aunt describe a donated pair as a small anchor, a way families signal care across generations. The cultural significance is not only in the object, but in the exchange. Who gives, who receives, and what that exchange articulates about social bonds.
Segment 6. Diaspora, Translation and Change. For Cambodians abroad, norms about barefoot etiquette can be translated or adapted. In a different cultural landscape, apartment buildings with strict rules, colder climates, social expectations, families negotiate which practices to keep and which to modify. Sometimes barefoot reverence is retained at home. Other times, symbolic acts replace the full practice.
Diaspora families make intentional choices, preserving an ancestral step, teaching children certain thresholds to respect. That's resilience. And in other cases, new hybrid practices form, combining old etiquette with new constraints. The meaning evolves, which is both a loss and a form of survival.
Segment 7. Ethics and Field Etiquette. Now, practical guidance. We want listeners, heritage travelers, diaspora members, students, ethnographers, to observe and record respectfully. First rule, always ask. Before photographing a person's feet, sandals, or a private scene, use clear consent phrases.
May I take a photo of your shoes? I will not show faces, and I will share it only with respect. In Khmer, Song ot chumnie chnuprok chbun, knyom min chmui mui mon thom, knyom saik jo min sombai.
To be extra careful, offer the person a choice about anonymization. Say you will blur faces or crop the image to show only shoes. If someone declines, accept that gracefully and thank them. Rachana and I both stress that consent matters even for seemingly small images of feet. Those moments can be private or sacred.
If you want to share a photo with our show for a curated reel,
please send it to the show curators, not straight to social media. We'll anonymize and check permissions. And when you post publicly, consider captions that honor the person's story, and where possible, credit the maker or repairer and offer fair payment options. That's how listening becomes support.
Before we close, a short set of listening prompts to carry with you. Notice the path people choose. Do they walk along the street edge or cut across a courtyard? Look at repair marks. Whose hands have touched that sole? Ask gently about choice. Was this pair bought, gifted, or repaired? These questions turn casual observation into ethical curiosity.
And a reminder, patterns vary widely. Our vignettes, an elder in a temple, a cobbler at dawn, illustrate possibilities, not rules. The pattern shows us context. We must not flatten the diversity of Khmer experience into a single story. That's where culture lives, in the multiplicity.
Conclusion. Today we've walked through material histories, sacred etiquette, markets and repair stalls, life cycle moments, and the ways diaspora adapts barefoot traditions. I hope when you next hear the shuffle of sandals, you'll listen for the stories beneath, the routes of trade, the economic choices, the rites of passage written in scuffed soles.
If something from this episode resonated, a memory of a first pair of shoes, a barefoot courtyard, please share a modest photo or a short caption. Remember our consent guidance. Anonymize if requested, and when in doubt, send it through our curators so we can help steward the image respectfully.
Post your photo or caption, tag Ancient Echoes and Sam Nong's YouTube channel, or use the hashtag #SoulsOfStory. We'll curate a few respectful submissions into a short reel and always check permissions. Let's build a small, careful gallery together, one that honors makers, repairers, and the people who taught us how to step.
Thank you for walking with us today. The pattern shows us more than fashion. It shows belonging, continuity, and the gestures of care that pass between generations. Keep listening closely. The next step often tells the longest story.
Let's unlock the echoes of history together.
In the quiet of night, I whispered my plea, holding her close, hoping for her decree. I called upon spirits, asked them to guide, to take her heart and lead her by my side. So I drew her near, traced her brow so fair, my sight is way. Sacred power, sway, mighty spirit awakened. By the master's right, let her heart be gently taken. Let her follow me now by vow and by sign. I hear these words, oh teacher, witness this plea. Oh, my sacred power, sway.